voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
Hello and thank you for joining us. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. I am Solomon Ofem. Before we begin the news, kindly visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trendy news. And for WhatsApp, the number is 090-447-32605. And now first in the news, 81-year-old president of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni, has begun his 7th term with his son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the head of the military, emerging as the front runner to succeed him. Kainerugaba, known for his fiery social media posts, played a key role in Museveni's election victory by ordering a crackdown on opponents and cutting internet services. Kainerugaba has repeatedly threatened opposition leader Bobi Wine, who claims the election was rigged and is currently in hiding. He boasted that 30 terrorists from Wine's party were killed and 2,000 hooligans arrested, though the opposition party has not responded to these claims. The election was marked by disruptions to opposition rallies, detentions, and violence. The international community, including the UN, has expressed concern over the situation. Meanwhile, Uganda'S military chief, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, has denied allegations that soldiers assaulted Barbara Kyagulanyi, wife of opposition leader Bobi Wine, during a raid at his home. Wine claims military officers held his wife at gunpoint, assaulted her, and took documents and electronics. Barbara Kyagulanyi, speaking from hospital, said officers demanded to know Wine's whereabouts and assaulted her when she refused, tearing her lip and partially stripping her. But Kainerugaba posted on X that his soldiers did not beat up Barbie and are looking for her husband. The incident follows President Yoweri Museveni's landslide victory, rejected by Wine, citing fraud. Kainerugaba has demanded Wine's surrender and issued death threats. Away from Uganda now to Ivory Coast, where President Alassane Ouattara has appointed his brother, the Defense Minister Tene Birahima Ouattara, as the country's new Deputy Prime Minister, a newly created position. The move is part of a cabinet reshuffle announced on Friday, with most senior ministers retaining their key portfolios. The 35-member cabinet includes Vagondo Diomande as Interior and Security Minister, Samson Kambile as Justice Minister, and Adama Coulibaly as Cabinet Minister. Niale Kaba has been moved from the Planning Ministry to head of the Foreign Affairs Ministry. The reshuffle follows President Ouattara's re-election in October and his party's victory in December's legislative elections, securing a parliamentary majority. The move is seen as a strategic decision to maintain stability and continuing in government. Somalia has expressed gratitude to Turkey for its consistent support in economic security cooperation and counterterrorism. Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Bari praised Turkey as a strategic partner that has played a vital role in bolstering Somalia's security, unity, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. The Somali PM made the remarks during talks with a visiting Turkish delegation led by Ali Onaner, director of the African Department at the Turkish Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Mogadishu. The decisions focused on strengthening bilateral ties, security cooperation, counterterrorism, and stability in the Horn of Africa region. Turkey reaffirmed its commitment to standing by Somalia, with Onaner pledging to enhance the collaborative relationship between the two countries. South Sudan's military has ordered civilians and UN personnel to evacuate in Uror, and Akobo counties ahead of operation against opposition forces. The South Sudan People's Defense Forces (SSPDF) stated that the evacuation is necessary for safety as clashes between government forces and the Sudan People's Liberation Army in opposition SPLA-IO continue to escalate. The affected areas are in Jonglei State, a flashpoint in South Sudan's conflict, with fighting occurring at a scale not seen since 2017. The SSPDF has given UN, MISS, and NGOs 48 hours to leave the area. The operation, codenamed Operation Enduring Peace, aims to halt the SPLA-IO offensive. Civilians are directed to government-controlled areas for safety. Meanwhile, this report says 2 mass graves containing thousands of bodies have been discovered in Khartoum, Sudan, shedding light on what has been described as the brutal conflict between the army and the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF. The graves found in the Riyadh neighborhood contain victims buried in a haphazard manner with evidence of torture and execution. The RSF had reportedly used nearby buildings as detention centers where civilians and military personnel were subjected to torture and killed. The Attorney General Intisar Ahmed Abdel Allah stated that efforts are underway to exhume the bodies and transfer them to proper cemeteries, with the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, providing support. The conflict, which began in April 2023, has resulted in thousands of deaths with millions displaced. The RSF controls 5 states in the Darfur region, while the army holds most areas in the remaining 13 states. The UN has condemned the atrocities, describing them as war crimes and crimes against humanity. The International Criminal Court, ICC, has opened an investigation into the conflict. Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati has called for Israel's withdrawal from the Gaza Strip, and he reopened the Rafah border crossing as part of last year's ceasefire deal. This call was made during Abdelati's meeting with U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau in Cairo, where they discussed bilateral relations and regional development. The discussions also touched on the development in Gaza, Sudan, the Horn of Africa region, and Egypt's water security. Abdelati emphasized the need to implement the second phase of Trump's plan on Gaza, support a national committee tasked with running Gaza, and deploy an international stabilization force to monitor the ceasefire. Israel's army radio reported that Washington has reached an understanding with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Minister regarding the reopening of the Rafah crossing, which is expected to happen later this week. The ceasefire plan halted Israel's 2-year war on Gaza, which has resulted in over 71,000 deaths and 171,000 injured since October 2023. Elsewhere, hundreds of protesters led by South African Communist Party trade unions marched to the U.S. consulate in Johannesburg, calling for the release of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The demonstrators condemned the alleged U.S. military invasion of Venezuela and demanded respect for international law and human rights. The protesters, including members of the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa, said they were pledging solidarity with the people of Venezuela and will continue to support them until they are liberated. The protest follows tensions between South Africa and the U.S., with President Cyril Ramaphosa and the African National Congress Party denouncing U.S. actions and calling for Maduro's release. Meanwhile, the African National Congress First Deputy Secretary General Momvula Mokunyane saluted workers for uniting against imperialist aggression and supporting Venezuela's sovereignty. Joining us in the studio to help analyze the stories is public affairs analyst and, of course, a legal practitioner, Darlington Agomo. Barrister Agomo, thank you very much for joining us on the news.
Good afternoon, Solo. How are you?
Very fine, thank you. Thanks for
How was
asking.
the weekend?
We thank God. And, of course, joining us virtually from Uganda is a lawyer and business associate and a human rights activist, Barrister Edward Okwaru Omokaniya. He'll be joining us later, but for now, we'll still be here with Barrister Agomo. And of course, the first story for discussion is Uganda, where the president, Yoweri Museveni, is the 81-year-old, of course, has begun his seventh term, and his son, Mahuzi Kainerugaba, the head of the military, emerging as the front runner to succeed him. Barrister Agomo, we've talked several times on the authoritarian style of leadership in Africa, where these countries are supposed to be practicing democracy, but yet what we see here is a quasi-democracy, or something way worse. Someone called it left-handed style of democracy. We see the situation happening in Uganda, where the president, 81-year-old, is, his son is set to replace him as the president, of course, after making him the head of the military. What's your take on that?
My take is that an evil trend is pervading Africa. People are not watching this thing closely, but it is going on, it's happening. People now entrench themselves as if governance is their family property. When the father finishes, you hand over to the son, because they believe you cannot do anything. And it's not as if they are providing good governance, and the people are watching. Anyway, what I know is that one day, it is either Museveni will leave office or office will leave him. Maybe by the time he finishes this time, he will be 87. 87-year-old running a country. It's unfortunate, seriously.
Indeed.
It's unfortunate. I wish God will intervene in this situation, because these people are playing God. And I know they are not God. They are not God. So if Museveni has done it as usual, what is the guarantee that after 87 years, he will step down? I don't think so. It's just maybe God will touch his heart. Because with what he has done to that Bobby Wine, no other opposition. The young man will be afraid of his life to even try it the next time.
He's in hiding. Bobby Wine, talking about Bobby Wine, he's in hiding.
Yeah, he's in hiding after they have almost killed him. Yeah? After they have almost killed him. And the people of Kenya are there. No riots, no protest. So when are they going to wake up to their responsibility as a country, as a people? When are they going to wake up? They are afraid that they will shoot them, they will harass them, they will do this. So which one is better? Is it this situation they are in, or for them to rise up and challenge what is wrong? It's unfortunate, seriously. It's unfortunate.
I mean, if there's anything, the President Museveni is trying very hard to consolidate the power. Of course, no trust for the military there, trying to avoid a military coup that has become a major trend in Africa. And of course, with that appointing his son as the head of military, how far do you think he's going to consolidate his power? Because this is looking like another Bongo family legacy and a dynasty.
He is already there. All the opposition has been eliminated. Nobody will rise, even the coup, nobody will have the guts with the son there. They have caged that country. Seriously, they have caged that country. It's only a serious and forceful push will force him out of office. But if you are thinking of using a democratic means, forget it. That man will be there until something happens. I don't think he's ready to leave office after 87.
But you also talked about the people protesting. We know protest, we know intervention, we know fighting for a right sometimes can be bloody. But how realistic is this revolution when the son is the head of the military? I mean, some suggest that there will be a bloodshed and futility. People will die, and then at the end of the day, no revolution will be. I mean, it's more like what happened during the NSAS.
If the people allow it, he's going to do more. That's why they must rise up and challenge what is going on. Because my fear is that somebody will copy what is going on in Uganda. Mind you, I didn't mention anybody's name, but are you thinking what I'm thinking? Somebody may copy what is going on. Because already they have done worse than that. So they have reached 99. What is 100? With what is going on, it's a question of take it. Because everybody is now in their pocket. The judiciary, the military, the police, the National Assembly, where the amending the Constitution will come from. They are already in his pocket as I talk to you today. So what else is left? That's why they must not allow this thing to continue in Uganda.
Now, talking about Bobby Wine and the opposition, the president's son, that's the chief of military, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, has come out to deny an assault that the wife of Bobby Wine has leveled against them. She was harassed by the military, all in an attempt to locate her husband, Bobby Wine's hiding place. Talking about battery, talking about abuse of power, talking about abuses of office, talking about military intimidation. Everything you would think of in an authoritarian regime, it's what people will allege they're experiencing in Uganda at the moment.
The fear of Yoweri Museveni is the fear of being accused of embezzlement, corruption, and dictatorship, extrajudicial murder. So he needs to remain in office to cover all these things. That is his fear, his greatest fear. For him to leave office and somebody will call him to come and answer for what he has done. That is the greatest fear of every dictator that I know. They have committed so much in office and they don't want to leave office so that those things will now be revealed. They don't want it. That is their fear. But my question is, how long can you hold on to power? How long? Because whether you like it or not, nature will come in, nature will call. So when nature calls, what will you now do? You will say no, Abi. Has anybody been able to resist nature? So They should just be waiting patiently. The people of Uganda should just be waiting and praying that this man will go away in their lives. He did not even bring anything good for the people of Uganda. So why are you there?
No development.
No, nothing.
The economy is in disarray.
So
now, talking about still the same issue, the trend continues in Ivory Coast, where this time the president, Alassane Ouattara, has appointed his brother as defense minister, Tene Birahima, as the country's new deputy prime minister, a position created, just for him. The trend continues in Ivory Coast, unfortunately.
I told you, it's a trend. It's moving like a hurricane. But I know very well that when push will come to shove, African youth will rise up. I have told the youth, this future they are destroying is your future. If you allow it, all well and good. But if you say no, you have the power to stop it. You have the power, you have the number. All you need to do, organize it. Organize it before the thing becomes uncontrollable. After all, we had an Arab Spring here, and you saw what happened. We had the French Revolution, we had the Russian Revolution. Is it not people that carried it out? Did it not bring good governance in those countries? Oh, so if you people are just sitting down, waiting for God to come and help you fight them, then you wait for Godot. God has given you the power, the strength, the knowledge to save yourself. So if you did not, don't blame anybody.
One thing I know in most countries, and that also includes Ivory Coast, for you to create a new position as high as this, it has to be a constitutional situation where the parliament will have to sit down. There have to be a vote, and most times there have to be a 2/3 majority approving that. And it didn't happen here from the information we get. But of course, some will say that doesn't matter because there was a landslide. The 35-member cabinet. In the legislative, which means the president is confident that it doesn't matter what he does, the legislature will back him nonetheless.
That is the first thing they do. They make sure they get the legislature, the people in the National Assembly. They make sure they get them, they pocket them, so that they will help them in whatever evil policy or evil agenda they want to introduce. It's as simple as that. I'm not surprised. Go and check. All the places this is happening, the legislatures are pocketed. They are pocketed. In the case of Nigeria, APC is over 75%. So what is it that they cannot do? What? It's just for the Asorok to say, this is what I want. And they'll put it on voice vote. And say, the years have it. Is that not over?
And they're talking about Somalia. They're back in the news. We know the controversy that is surrounding Somalia and Somaliland since after Israel announced support for Somaliland, and of course the implication of that with the news that the people that have been Palestinians that have been eradicated in Gaza will be, transported, into that country. Looks like Somalia have been trying to consolidate support as much as possible, and the latest is with Turkey, where they've expressed gratitude to Turkey for its consistent support in security operation and counterterrorism. Do you think that is enough? Enter the fray. The reason why the Somalia versus Somaliland have not gotten as much traction is the fact that the U.S. have not had lent its voice to their support, despite the fact that Israel, who is country that have great support from the U.S. despite the international outcry. But you think this is enough to consolidate, partnership here and there?
Whenever a country is into this type of arrangement, they are looking for their own interests. In international diplomacy and international politics, a country's interest comes first.
Of course, there have to be mutual interest from both parties for them to come to an agreement. In this case, Somalia and Turkey.
At times, it doesn't flow the way you are saying it, though.
Okay.
Yes, because...
So you think in this situation, the interest is one-sided?
Yes. When they are seeing you as a weak country. You are in a vulnerable position, so they capitalize on that. Most times, that's what the bigger country does.
Okay.
When they see that you are in a vulnerable position, they will now come and take advantage of you because you don't have any choice. That is what happens in some of these things. But that is not the terms and spirit of any international partnership. It is there for you, the country, to know those who are for your own good, those who are coming to help your country, those who are coming to be of use to you, not those who are coming to exploit you. That is it. Some of them are coming for exploitation, because they know that you are in a vulnerable position. You don't have what it takes to be on your own. That is it. So when you are talking about America, if America should come in, there must be conditions. Donald Trump has never gone anywhere to do peace without you giving something. He is not for that business at all. Anywhere he goes, he's looking for something.
Now let's go to South Sudan, where the chaos there continues. And this time the news is that the South Sudan's military has ordered civilians and UN personnel to evacuate certain areas ahead of an operation against the opposition forces. What's your take on that?
If Sudan has woken up to take charge of its own country, better. Because like I've always said, I don't see why the RSF should be giving them headache all these years, causing problems here and there. Rapid the support force. From where? Who is behind them? Let them block their access to a weapon and all the necessary things. And that war will end in 24 hours. So, if they are telling those people to evacuate from those areas, that means a heavy bombardment is coming. They want to rout them out. That's just the truth. And I support it. Yes, I support it.
Some may say they're preparing for an atrocity where they don't want international eyewitness.
The people that are there, they are not part of the combatants. And whatever you are going to do as a country, to secure yourself, nobody will blame you. Nobody. If they have decided to rout out the RSF, I said I support it. Let the RSF surrender before the assault will come. I mean, that's what I think. Nobody should blame Sudan at all. Nobody.
Meanwhile, two mass graves continues containing thousands of bodies have been discovered in Khartoum. Sudan shedding light on what has been described as a brutal conflict between the army and the rapid paramilitary forces. At the end of the day, it is the ordinary citizens that are being affected the most, in this conflict. And none wants to shift even a space. They're all, as you said earlier, fighting for their own interest.
Solomon, whenever something like this happens, there must be collateral damage. War is not a tea party.
But how much collateral damage is too much? Because in this situation, the collateral damages have reached an astronomical height. I mean, it has gotten to a war crime against humanity situation here. This is not a simple collateral damage anymore.
It depends on who has committed what. The mass grave you saw, was it carried out by RSF Sudanese government.
Both parties, actually, if the information we get is to be believed. Because while the RSF might be termed the aggressors, the Sudanese government too have been firing without any regard for lives. So in this situation, you can say this is a situation of two wrongs that is definitely not making any right here.
Anyway, these things are subject to investigation. But if the Sudanese government is trying to secure their country from RSF, please, nobody should blame them. Rather, you blame the RSF. They are the aggressor. What are they fighting for? Who is supporting them? What is their interest? So if the government can muster enough courage and deal with this people finally, so that the hardship will stop, better. I support it. Because I didn't see any overriding need for this war. It's an ego war. Ego war that will not bring anything good to the country. So the Sudanese government should go all out. Those people they have already won should leave that place so that they will not be caught in the crossfire. Let them move out so that they will not be caught in the crossfire. It's important we say this. Except the RSF want to use them as shade. Then they will now know how to go about it. They cannot be using them for shade forever. At a point, they will give up. If they are outgunned and outmanned, they will give up.
Now, still talking about war, this time the war between Israel and what was supposed to be a Hamas that has escalated into the leveling of Gaza and displacement of Palestinians. Now, the latest report now is that Egypt's foreign minister has called for Israel's withdrawal from the Gaza Strip and the reopening of the Rafah border crossing as part of last year's ceasefire deal. We know there have been several deals, and we know both parties have not adhered to those deals, thereby continuation, as it were, with the war. What's your take on Egypt's intervention in this case?
My take is that Israel should slow down. They have avenged for their dead, and the people Hamas came to kidnap in Israeli land. They should slow down so that God will not turn his anger on them. They have killed more than enough. I don't think in the next 1 million years, anybody from Gaza or Hamas will try what they did on October 7th. Nobody will try again to invade Israel for whatever reason. That is the anger of Israel. And
Israel,
so,
nobody invaded Israel, was there?
You say what? Hamas, October 7th. They went into Israel and killed their people, over 2,005 of them.
No, this was a bombing. I mean, Hamas doesn't even have what it takes to invade Israel.
Oh my God. Solomon, please.
That's except this is a new narrative we're talking about here.
On October 7th, something happened in Israel.
Yes, Hamas bombed Israel.
They're not even bombed, they invaded. They went into Israel, killed some people, kidnapped some people, and caused a lot of damage in Israeli land. They killed Israelis.
But here's the situation. The war that was supposed to be between Israel and Hamas, it is the Palestinians that suffered. It's like coming to fight war with Boko Haram and you're killing millions of Nigerians in turn.
Hamas came from Palestine. Hamas is controlling Palestine. So in such a situation...
They were controlling the Gaza Strip, not Palestine as a whole.
Who are
the
people you are talking about here are Palestinian. Both Hamas and Gaza, they are Palestinians.
They're Palestinian terrorists, not ordinary Palestinians.
Look, they are the ones controlling the Palestinian territory. And these are the people they went after. If something now happened as a collateral damage, are you not expecting it? Is it not expected?
You call the raising of Palestinian a collateral damage? That's war crime.
No.
Millions have been displaced. More than 71,000 injured, killed.
I said Have you seen the area called Palestinian land, the Gaza Strip and Hamas? Have you seen the stretch of land we are talking about? These people infiltrated the Palestinian people. And so what do you expect Israel to do? Because they are the same people.
So what about West Bank? Because even Israel have started threatening West Bank, and Hamas has nothing to do with West Bank. They hold on the Palestine has just been in the Gaza Strip.
They are hiding there. They went into there to hide. When Israel was, in fact, when Israel almost leveled the whole of Gaza Strip, the people there had to run. The Hamas people and all they had to run to a safer place where the Palestinians are staying. That is what is happening here. That's how they infiltrated them.
So you support in the bid to fight terrorism. You kill almost everybody on the road under the name of collateral.
They didn't kill anybody. Up to today, they are still targeting Hamas.
Lots of Palestinians have been killed.
Because
result of that.
Yeah, it was not a direct attack on Palestinians. It was as a result of collateral damage. The bombing and all that. That was what happened. If you check, this thing was concentrated on the Gaza Strip, Gaza. That is where the Hamas are holding sway.
Now, but before the bombing, the ordinary Palestinians have been suffering under the hand of Hamas.
Yes.
They have been protesting, against Hamas.
Exactly.
Now, international commentators have said U.S. and Israel should have taken that into consideration instead of lumping Hamas and the ordinary Palestinians.
They did. That's why, if you check, the killing was not heavy on the side of the Hamas people, but on the side of Hamas in Gaza Strip. Remember, specifically, the bombing was concentrated on Gaza Strip, where Hamas is holding sway, where Hamas is running a rogue government. This was the place that they leveled. This was the place they concentrated. But when this became too heavy on Hamas, they started infiltrating safer places. Of course, Israel had to go after them. That's just the truth. Israel had to go after them.
Anyway, elsewhere, hundreds of protests led by South African Communist Party and trade unions marched to the U.S. consulate in Johannesburg, calling for the release of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. You have always been a huge Donald Trump fan, and to your eyes, anything he does is okay, whether rightly or wrongly, whether legally or illegally. But the international communities don't look at it that way. And South Africa is one of those countries that has been fighting and protesting, urging the U.S. president to release the president of a country that invaded and captured. What's your take on that?
My take is that if Donald Trump can continue what he's doing, I will be fully in support. A rogue government is not supposed to be leading the people. A rogue government.
But that's not supposed to be U.S. business. It's a sovereign country.
You don't have what I said. The issue of sovereignty, even before this thing happened, who was there that day? Was it this lady or who? I told them that it is time the UN, amend this sovereignty. Most rogue governments are hiding under this sovereignty to be causing evil in their country. They believe that nobody can talk to them. They are in their country. Those sovereignty covers them. They cannot talk. UN cannot talk. No nobody can talk. Meanwhile, evil is going on in that country. So how long will that continue? So if Donald Trump can continue with what he's doing, I will be so happy. So that government will know that no, they are not God. There must be a higher power that will deal with them.
So what's your take on the South Africans lending their voice to the many international calls for the U.S. to release the president of...
I mean, it's your right to protest. Anybody can protest. You will have your say, but Donald Trump will have his way. You are free to protest. It doesn't concern Donald Trump.
Okay. Minister Ogumo, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
It's my pleasure too. Please, when we see evil, we should pursue it. All this government, you don't know what they have done to their people. Like this, you're Museveni now, like Paul Biya. And what somebody is nursing somewhere. You mean they should continue? No. Somebody must call them to order. I support it, yes. They must stop.
That was Darlington Ogumo, legal practitioner and a current affairs analyst. You're watching the African News on Voice of the People TV. When we return, Ethiopia declares end of Marburg virus outbreak. Details of these and more when we come back. Stay tuned.
From the views on the street
we go to bed empty hunger
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lawn.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society.
If you're just tuning in, this is Voice of the People Television and you're watching African News. Ethiopia has declared the end of an outbreak of Marburg virus, the World Health Organization said on Monday, after the disease killed at least 9 people. The Horn of Africa country announced on November 14 the outbreak of the highly infectious disease similar to Ebola. Marburg often causes severe headaches and leads to hemorrhaging. Previous outbreaks in Africa have resulted in fatality rates as high as 80% or more of the cases, typically within 8 to 9 days of the onset of symptoms. The outbreak was contained through coordinated efforts between the Ethiopian government, WHO, and other partners, with a team of correspondents deployed to support containment efforts. A Dubai-based industrial group, Mark Cables, has completed a 200 MW thermal power plants project in Burkina Faso, estimated to cost 180 million euros, amounting to $218 million. The project, completed in just 6 months, aims to address the country's electricity deficit, with only a fifth of the population having access to electricity. The power plant will support the government efforts to stabilize the grid and reduce dependence on energy import from coastal West African states. Mark Cables, managing director, emphasized the project's significance in bridging Burkina Faso's energy gap. Burkina Faso relies heavily on imports to meet its energy needs, and this project is expected to boost the country's energy security. From Burkina Faso, we'll go over to Libya, where the country has signed a 25-year oil development agreement with France's Total Energies and US-based ConocoPhillips, involving over $20 billion in foreign finance investment. The deal, signed through Waha Oil Company, aims to boost production capacity by up to 850,000 barrels per day, BPD, and is expected to generate net revenues of over $376 billion. The agreement reflects Libya's strengthening relations with key international partners with the global energy sector, said Prime Minister Abdulhamid Al-Abdeba. Libya will also sign a memorandum of understanding with U.S. oil major Chevron and a cooperation agreement with Egypt's oil ministry. The deal is part of Libya's efforts to increase oil production, which has been disrupted by political instability and conflict since 2014. The country is one of Africa's largest oil producers, with an estimated 48.4 billion barrels of reserves. We'll go on another quick break, and the African News returns with business and other stories. Stay tuned. And on to business news, the South African rand has reached its strongest level against the US dollar in 3.5 years, hitting 16 per dollar for the first time since June of 2022. The rand was traded at 16 hours 50 at 0938 GMT. Opposition, I beg your pardon, the rand was traded at 16.0050 at 0938 GMT, boosted by record precious metal prices and optimism about the country's economic outlook. The global gold price has surged to a record high above $5,100 an ounce, driven by central banks and investors seeking refuge from geopolitical risks and market volatility. As gold is a major South African export, the record-setting rally has helped the rand gain about 14% against the dollar last year and more than 3% so far this year. The Johannesburg Stock Exchange's Top 40 Index was up 1.1% on Monday, with Anglo Gold Ashanti and Gold Fields among the biggest risers, up over 4%. And now to sports news. Stade Malien de Bamako has taken the top spot in Group D at the CAF Champions League with a 2-0 victory over Petro de Luanda on Sunday. The Malian side capitalized on costly defensive mistakes to secure the win, with second-half goals from Tadeu Nkang and captain Mamadou Traore. The match was evenly poised at halftime, but Stade Malien's greater intent and patience paid off in the second half. Petro de Luanda's goalkeeper Hugo Marquez made errors that contributed to the host goals. Stade Malien now leads Group D with 7 points from 3 matches, 2 points ahead of Esperance de Tunis. Petro de Luanda has 4 points. Elsewhere, Azam FC secured a 2-1 win over Nairobi United, keeping their CAF Confederation Cup knockout stage hopes alive. Nairobi United took an early lead through Duncan Omana, but Azam FC equalized via Jefte Kitambala and took the lead with an Ernest Mohammed own goal. In another match, Amakosi secured a crucial win over Zesco United in Ndola. And that's all on African News. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Voice of the People TV and on other social media platforms at VOP TV Live. If you witness news happenings near you, we want you to reach out to us. Send your eyewitness report, event coverage, request photos or videos directly via WhatsApp to 0814-606-4057. You can also reach our newsroom by email at news@vop.ng. I am Solomon Ofem. Thanks for watching.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking?
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Oburu na mbụ ezigbo nwa afọ Nigeria ka ihe m ga-eme pụrụ iche.
Nwanne m nwoke.
Adanne.
m ga-akwụ chi n'eziokwu kwanyere ndị ọzọ ugwu ma lekọta obodo anyị anya.
Gbam!
Ụmụnne m na ụmụnna m, obodo anyị bụ Naịjirịa ga-aga n'iru ma ọ bụrụ na anyị jikọta aka kwado ndị na-achị anyị ka ha mee nke ha, anyị ga-emekwa nke anyị.
N'ezie ọganihu ga-adị ma ọ bụrụ na anyị na ndị na-achị anyị jikọta aka rụọ ọrụ.
Asaa bụ
Onye ndị na-achị anyị kwekọtara ha ga-eme ka obodo wee dị mma.
Igbo kwenu! Igbo kwenu! Igbo kwezuenu o! Ọ bụrụ na bụ ezigbo onye Naịjirịa aga m eme na-edozi ụzọ anyị ụcha oge niile na-akwụtụsi n'ụzọ eziokwu na-emere ndị agbata obi anyị ebere. Ndị ọchịchị ga-arụ ụzọ ọma na-abịa, wuo ụlọ ọgwụ ọma na Anambra, mee nnukwu ka ọ dị nchebe ehihie n'abalị. Nkwekọrịta gọọmenti na nzaghachi ndị obodo, ụmụnne m na ụmụnna m bilie ka anyị bulie Naịjirịa elu. Nkwekọrịta ndị ọchịchị anyị ga-aza, ọnụ obodo anyị ga-eme ya. Ọ bụ nkwekọrịta anyị na anyị ga-eme ka Naịjirịa gaa nke ọma. Ndị ọchịchị ga-eweta ahụike, ọ bụrụ na nrọ ọrụ ike mụta aka ọrụ. Ndị ọchịchị ga-emepe ụzọ ọrụ n'Ebonyi Imo, ọ bụrụ na nkwanye ugwu nye agbụrụ niile n'otu ndọrọ ndọrọ ọchịchị. Ndị ọchịchị ga-ekpe ikpe ziri ezi nye onye ọbụla. Anyị jikọtara ọnụ. Nkwekọrịta gọọmenti na nzaghachi ndị obodo, ụmụnne m na ụmụnna m bilie ka anyị bulie Naịjirịa elu. Nkwekọrịta dị ọchịchị anyị ga-aza, ọnụ obodo anyị ga-eme ya. Ọ bụ nkwekọrịta anyị na anyị ga-eme ka Naịjirịa gaa nke ọma. Naijiria obodo mmanụ aṅụ na mmiri ara ehi na-asọ, ụzọ ọma o, ụlọ ọgwụ ọma o, ebe obibi ọma o. Igbo ndị ọma pụtanụ ka anyị ọlịba onye agbakwara nke nwanne ya gbara. Let's go!
Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu na Imo, anyị na-ekwe nkwa na anyị ga-eso ụzọ asaa na asaa ndị na-achị anyị wepụtara.
Powered by National Orientation Agency.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
All right, good afternoon and welcome to another amazing episode of Health Check here on Voice of the People Television. I am Praise Peters and it's a delight to bring you insightful discussions surrounding your health and well-being. Right, so every week on this show, we examine the everyday choices that we make about our health, that often seem small, normal, and even harmless, but can carry very serious consequences. But today's conversation is absolutely interesting. It's something that many of us can even relate to. At some point, we've all felt a symptom and made a quick decision. You know what I'm talking about. No, we guessed. Probably you came down with a headache and you just assumed it's malaria. You just bought drugs over the counter. You took antibiotics. You literally did self-medication, Some even took herbs. We try herbs. Oh, let me go the local route. Agbo. And we hoped everything would be fine with that. But the question is this: what if that assumption is wrong? I mean, what if the treatment is hiding the real problem? What if the real danger isn't the illness, but how we are actually treating it? And that's why today on Health Check, we're having an important conversation. Self-medication versus lab testing. What are we really risking? And to help us unpack this clearly and responsibly, I am joined by Dawodu Joseph, a medical laboratory scientist, someone who works where answers are found, not just assumptions. You're welcome to Health Check, Mr. Joseph.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today. How are you feeling, sir?
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
How's the job been so far?
It's cool. It's cool.
I have, imagine what it's like to be a medical laboratory scientist, how that you have to deal with lots of samples and all of that, and how you cannot even make mistakes at all. You cannot afford to make mistakes.
You must be highly careful and mindful of what you are doing because you are handling people's life, people's samples, either blood, any form of specimen, identify an individual's life. So it's like you are handling someone's life and you must handle it with utmost care, whereby you must be precise and accurate in your diagnosis without any form of mistake, because any mistake can lead to death and severe complications.
Talking about mistakes now, it's really sad. I heard of a scenario. A doctor was actually telling this to me, how that someone who was not even, sick with cancer was diagnosed of cancer because of wrong samples. Her sample was switched with someone with cancer. And this person was already undergoing chemo. And you know how bad this is, having been treated with something that you don't even have in your system. And this really tells us how important your job is.
In this century, with the aid of technology, I think the issue of mistakes, misplacement of samples have been almost, I can say, totally eradicated. And
honestly,
it is not in this century. So this century, we have a precise diagnosis almost all over the country, Nigeria, and for now, the medical laboratory practices is practiced at top notch.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
All right, so before we go deep, let's start here. This is for the privilege of the audience, right, for the viewers. So when people hear medical laboratory sciences, before we go deep into the conversation, I want the viewers to understand what this actually means, medical laboratory sciences. Is it just, margin tests, tubes, machines, and all of that? What does your work actually look like on a normal day?
Medical laboratory scientists are professionals that after their years in university, they are being awarded a bachelor in medical laboratory science, where they are certified by the Medical Laboratory Council to practice, to examine the samples in whatever forms it might come, and it's as a subdivisions. Some are called the chemical pathologists, some are called the microbiologists. We have the hematologists, those that really deal with bloods, most of the time majorly on blood, and the microbiologists, those that deal directly with bacteria of all forms. We have the parasitologists, those that deal with parasites of all forms. We have the the people that specify basically on histological samples, biopsy and the likes, and so on. As well. We have the molecular aspect of the profession. So it's a very wide scope of studies, whereby the knowledge is vast, and it's really a backbone of medicine.
All right. So, at what point should people meet you? Should they meet you when they are calm or when they are already worried? I mean, when the particular condition they're struggling with is already escalated, or should they meet you at the very first point of symptoms?
Yeah, if there is any complication or problem going on in the body system, our clients are advised to visit a nearby healthcare establishment or probably an healthcare center, whereby they'll meet. The first contact is the medical records, their vitals is being taken. Then they are going to go see the doctor, whereby the doctor, after proper evaluation of the patient, the doctor will write prescribe the right tests to run in order to get a convincing findings and diagnosis, whereby it will lead to further treatment and give the right medications to the patient.
All right, so if I get you correctly, the doctor has to be the one to, refer the patients to the lab.
Normal circumstances, it must come from the doctor to the lab.
All right. That's amazing. All right, so let's talk about self-medication. This is actually one of the very, very major topics that, we have on the show today. So let's be very honest, actually. Self-medication feels very convenient.
Yes.
You'd agree with me?
Comfortable.
It's very comfortable.
Easy to access.
Exactly. You don't have to go meet the doctor. You just tell yourself, it could be this. And it's very, very dangerous in as much as it is also very comfortable.
Yeah.
So people say things like, I know my body, I've felt like this before, it's normal, I know what to take, all right? So from what you see on a daily basis, why do people feel so confident treating themselves?
Yeah, as you said, self-medication is very easy to access and so easy and cheap. And people feel comfortable to relate with the nearest alternatives, let me say, nearest healthcare provider, the nearest alternative to just alleviate their pains or their discomfort. So they go and access any kind of treatment to suit themselves, which can lead to complications, prolonged treatment, and consequences like death.
Exactly.
Because when you take a lot of antibiotics, it leads to antibiotics resistance complication, which means that your body has been too familiar with its particular drugs, So when you now access the main treatment or access an healthcare professional, then there will be issues in getting an higher regime of antibiotics to be able to deal with your discomfort.
Condition,
and
exactly.
that can lead to prolong of treatment, complications, and that's when some people will spend more time in the hospital than
they
usual.
should. Exactly. So if you ask me, I think it's about, saving time, saving money, and having to go through the stress of the registration and then getting to see the doctor and everything. What do you think is really the problem with?
It is, I will not say it is the stress. People just feel ignorant towards that aspect of going to the hospital. In this part of the country, when you tell people, have you visited the hospital, they now incorporate religious beliefs and so many beliefs, traditional beliefs that no, I'm not meant to go to the hospital because I believe in my personal belief, either a Christian, Muslim, or the other part of belief system. So I think our belief system in this part of the country has make people to feel ignorant of visiting the healthcare provider. It is not when you are sick or when you are down with some ailments you visit the hospital, but you can visit the hospital for a regular routine check. It can be yearly, it can be biannually, as comfortable it might be for you. So it's good to visit the healthcare provider as often as possible to prevent being down of certain diseases. And nowadays, before you know, a young chap of 22, 23 is down with cancer. A man or a lady of 30-something is down with cancer because there are some symptoms that has been coming up day by day, year by year, and they are like, it's nothing. So the accumulation and the prolong of that abnormalities in the body leads to severe consequences that can lead to terminal diseases.
It's really sad. This is why we should actually keep spreading awareness on how important, early medications, early diagnosis is. Go for your regular checkup and all of that. So, still about self-medication, right? Some people say, after I took this drug, I felt better. That sounds like success, After I take this drug, I wasn't having this pain anymore. Or you just go take a cough syrup and then the cough probably subsides and all of that. So according to your profession, right, does feeling better always mean that the illness is gone?
No, feeling better does not mean that the ailment is gone.
Okay.
Because it's just like someone that has headache and takes paracetamol and felt that all is well. So many things can cause headache. So many things can cause an abdominal pain. Ulcer can cause an abdominal pain. Food poisoning can cause it. Even a kidney issue can cause an abdominal pain. So many things can cause an abdominal pain or headache, even stress, that you don't even need anything. Just relax, take water and have a good sleep can just alleviate that. But people will still go back to use some high level of analgesics, which is very infectious to the liver and the kidney. So taking a substance to alleviate a particular kind of symptoms is not the best way to treat yourself. You must find the root cause.
Yes.
The root cause of that headache, the root cause of that pain, the root cause of that abdominal pain, the root cause of that discomfort in your eye, your hair, any part of the body must lead to you consulting a health professional for proper diagnosis. You cannot assume. There is no assumption in medicine.
Exactly.
You must be definite with that root cause of that abnormalities in your system as at that point. Physiologically, it must be proven before medication.
Medications. Yeah, I'm actually very, very curious now, right? What really happens when symptoms are suppressed and the cause remains?
Yes. It's just someone complaining an abdominal pain and uses any drugs. The pain, as at that point, can subside. And the cause still remains. After sometimes, when the chemistry of the drugs is being exhausted in the body, the pains aggravate again.
So it's possible that the body looks calm on the outside, but the issue is still there.
But the issue still sustains. When the chemistry is being gone and is being exhausted, then the pain, the root still occurs. So the person find himself him or herself back to the consequence of not visiting the health practitioner. It will still reoccur. It's just like appendicitis. That's inflammation of the appendix. You feel the pain, you take paracetamol, the pain will calm, will subside. Doesn't mean that the appendix, the appendicitis has been treated. But because of ignorance, they feel that after taking an analgesic, the appendix is gone. Or some will just take herbs, thinking that it is gone, without even testing which stage is it? Is it being infected? And what step to be taken? So all those things has been ignored, and we have been overshadowed by self-medication and unprofessional referral. Go and meet this person. Go and meet that man. Is good in this. Is good in that. Without any professional backing. So,
wow. All right, so let's talk about antibiotics now. Okay, I've seen lots and lots of scenarios where antibiotics has been abused. I mean, it has literally turned to an everyday drug, which you would agree with me that it's not so healthy, right? So when did antibiotics start being a special drug and start being an everyday medicine? I mean, according to your profession, right, how does antibiotics help or actually works in the body, and how should it be avoided?
Antibiotics are being prescribed for a certain abnormalities or for certain issue in the system, and they are meant to be used as prescribed. You are meant to follow the dosage. You are meant to follow the manufacturer instructions, which the doctors and the pharmaceuticals professional are aware of and are trained to